Aloha, everybody. This is Tiggy Maximus with Tiggy Maximus Talks, episode 154 on YouTube. Thank you guys for listening to all these episodes, or some of these episodes. Anything that you guys do, listening, donating, following, subscribing, all that. Thank you guys. I fully appreciate it. If you feel like it, there is a link on my Spotify episode where you can make a small donation towards the podcast. Anything's appreciated. So, on this episode of Tiggy Maximus Talks, I'm going to talk about two comedy shows. Both shows were on December 29th, last Friday. The first one was Out of This World comedy show at the Mic Drop Comedy Club in Claremont Mesa Boulevard. Great venue, great food, great drinks, great staff. My favorite venue in all of San Diego. Sarah Hirschberger was producing this show. Great show, really. And she has this show probably at least once a month, or maybe once every couple of months or so. I actually got to sit with her mom and dad, along with comedian Ellis Lynn. So that was fun. Nice to get to know all of them. Ellis Lynn, I did see her at when she first did a show at the Grand in El Cajon. She's really cool. I think I might see her tonight at tonight's roast battle at the Comedy Store in La Jolla. So we'll see. Thanks to Gordon Downz. I look forward to seeing the guy tonight. Which, by the way, Gordon Downz was actually the headliner for the Out of This World comedy show for Sarah. So, yeah. Let's see. Sarah Hirschberger went up for her comedy show, and she had her usual jokes that do pretty well. The one about she can hear her neighbors having sex. One was like really good at it, and then the other neighbor sounds like they're kind of laboring through. Sounds like a cat choking on a hairball or something. Just talk about the 90-day benefits if you were dating her. I guess also the one where how one must be feeling if you were to believe in a rock that you picked up off the ground. It's weird because I actually do have those tiger eye bracelets from Blissberry. Oh, Blissberry. So, you know, why can't one believe that these particular beads from stones or rocks can protect you, make you smarter, make you wiser? So, all with those bits, you know, I would say that Sarah was an 8.2 out of 10. It was actually a good crowd in that gold room at the Mic Drop. So, that kind of sets the tone for probably for the rest of the show. Next person that went up was Raul Zambrano. So, Raul Zambrano, I think he was a last minute substitution, because I think that Brian Moses was supposed to be on the show, but I think he was a little bit sick, so he didn't want to get anybody sick. So Raul Zambrano came through. He did some of his usual jokes, pretty funny stuff. The one where he talks about he got pulled over and he was trying to bribe the cop with a Target gift card. That was funny. There was the one where he went to the bathroom and the motion sensors don't pick up on his stall, so he's trying to, do the wave in the bathroom. So, usual funny stuff. Crowd liked him. I thought he was an 8 out of 10 on Friday. Next we have Sapna Iyer, doctor. She came, performed on the show, talked about, how her parents had dreams for her to become a doctor, which she did. But also she talked about, like, imagine having Indian parents who maybe dream that their children or their kid ends up becoming a comedian in a shoebox. So she talked about how a patient mentioned that she was that she was a janitor. She asked another one where she talks about anytime when she does a Zoom meeting, but then can't be caught inside a Taco Bell because she likes Taco Bell, but she just told patients that, they have high cholesterol and high blood pressure, so can't be a hypocrite to go and eat a Taco Bell after telling somebody they can't. So, fun stuff. I would say she did pretty well, 8.3 out of 10. This next one was also another doctor on the lineup. First time I'm seeing this guy, Jonathan Falco, Dr. Falco. Guy was pretty funny. He actually started off by asking who in the room here has a PhD, and only 2 people volunteered. And I think it was by default he was gonna automatically say, oh, that PhD is almost a doctor's degree, and then when you ask the second person, okay, that is a real doctor's degree. So I think you can choose between the two, but I think the whole bit is that he's going to say one is not really a PhD and the other one is a real PhD. So guy was pretty funny. He was cool to talk to after the show too. So I would say he was an 8.3 out of 10. Next we have Nick BK, feature comic. He has his usual stuff. How he talked about how he was sad that his friend passed away, but mentions about deer antlers as the cause of death. He has this thing about Disney Plus and Marvel, and I always seem to laugh when he talks about the multiverse, which is the thing they use to say inside the Marvel universe. But he says something like, what does Disney Plus why does Disney Plus think that he likes poetry? And of course, when I remembered the word multiverse, I can only think of 2 things, and of course I got it right away. Poetry, haikus, honestly, I always like it when he does that. I kind of wish that he didn't really have to do somewhat of a dumb joke explaining the deer antlers bit, because if he had just stuck with just saying, oh, without going into the explanation of how the person got through the windshield, into the car, under the car, over the car, and then, flies right into his friend, and just simply went by my friend I guess he was speared in the chest by the other driver, and then said that my friend probably would have survived if the other person didn't have antlers. I think that by itself is good enough, honestly, because like now that I've heard it a few times, and I think there was something to it. Like I think I was told that it's actually similar to another comedian's premise of going the extra mile, explaining what happened in a very ridiculous way. But I do like sometimes the short and sweet when it comes to jokes, and I don't think he really needs to go into the extreme. But if it works, it works. But personally, I kind of prefer if he didn't have to go that extra mile. I think it would have gotten a lot of laughs um, if he had just simply said that he probably would have survived if he didn't have antlers. I think that works a lot better, but that's just me. Of course, he also talks about going to the doctor and getting the diagnosis, prognosis, and the one where he talks about how one gave him like 2 bullets, and you're not really sure what to do with the second bullet. That was funny. And then the one where he talks about the purple octopus. After the doctor says to stop taking fistfuls of acid, what does he know? He's just a purple octopus. So I always like those bits. I do kind of wish that Nick kind of had some new jokes, but maybe all in due time. Overall, I would say Nick was an 8.2 out of 10. We did have a special appearance by Veronica Gordon. She was trying out a new character, Ray Charles III. Of course, I'm thinking Ray Charles, the musician. But I guess Veronica was kind of tying this to the, I guess the war going on between the Palestinians and the Jews, or Israel and Palestine, or Israel versus Hamas. I guess it didn't go too well. So, and then she already acknowledged that. So it needs some tweaking. So, I would say Veronica was a 7 out of 10 for trying out a new character. Kudos. I actually got a gift from Sarah Hirschberger. It's a Funko Pop of one of the Harry Potter characters, and then there was like some kind of candy inside the same egg that they both came in. So I guess it was tied to Veronica's character with the egg. So thank you, Veronica and Sarah, for that. And then you got your headliner, Gordon Downz. I'm actually going to see him tonight at the Roast Battle, since he's going to be emceeing that. The Roast Battle is going to be at the La Jolla Comedy Store, 8 o'clock tonight. So you haven't gotten your tickets yet, go online, buy those tickets. You might have a chance to buy tickets in person as well. By the way, there's a discount code, $5 off if you do it. You need to type in the word roast in the coupon box. So if you guys use it, you're welcome. So Gordon Downz, he did get some loud audience members, and 1 or 2 ladies were basically saying birthday girl, birthday girl. I think there were 2 birthday girls. So not only were the 2 shouters allowed to be on stage and get a gift, but the 2 birthday girls also got gifts too. Very generous of Gordon Downz. But I think Gordon Downz actually had jokes he wanted to do, but because of the crowd work and getting to talk to the loud audience members, I don't think he really got to like any jokes. So technically, I haven't heard a full set from Gordon Downz yet. So, but when you start to do crowd work, it's a mixed bag of results there. Um, so just basically no jokes and all crowd work. I would say Gordon Downz. Um, with the fact that I think he tried to get one of the audience members to type in his Instagram account and add his IG handle, but I guess the girl might have typed it in wrong on purpose or something, so it took too long to do. So, um, overall, I would say Gordon Downz, 8.3 out of 10. Um, so, I got to take some pictures with everybody, with Jonathan Falco, Sapna, Ellis, Luis, Sarah, and then Gordon Downs got to invite me to the green room and took a big group photo with Ellis, Raul, Randy, Nick, Veronica, Sarah, Sapna, and of course Gordon himself. Apparently, I do have my limitations when it comes to selfies. I couldn't get everybody in the photo. I did get the finger of Nick BK, but Ellis did a better job with her selfie. She got everybody in the photo with the help of trying to squeeze in. So, that was pretty cool. So after all that, I needed to rush over to the Madhouse because I was there to see Sean Grant. I was supposed to see him back in April, but there was a lot of rain during Kylie's show with Natasha at the Haven for their Big Cheese comedy show. But unfortunately, because it rained so much, Sean couldn't make it out of LA, and I had to no-show because I kept going around like 20 times to find parking, and I can't find the color of the curb to park at because the streets were flooding that night. So it was just safer for me to leave and go straight to the Madhouse. Strangely, though, both lineups that night had changed quite a bit because I usually like to tag comics before I show up at the show and then find out in person that everything changed, and then find out later on what happened. So, Sean Grant, the host for the Sean Grant show at the Madhouse was Nikki Sahara. I met him a few times. Guy's pretty cool. I'm glad I got to talk to him. I think he talked about being Asian. I don't know if he talked about Asian stereotypes, but I remember that. And then he did a little bit of crowd work in regards to Asians and stuff. So overall, I would say he was an 8.2 out of 10. Great hosting job, though. And then we got Austin Train. Guy talked about his mom, grandmom, being mistaken for a cop. He does remind me of Ravish and Rick Rude with the mustache and hair. Yeah, well, guy's pretty good. I would say he was an 8.5 out of 10. Next we have Kane Holloway. Guy talks about he doesn't believe in birds. Birds don't exist. And then he acted out how birds move their heads when they apparently look like they lost their wallet and looking for it. And there's the head movement of the chicken and the birds. That's pretty funny. I would say 8.5 out of 10 for King Holloway. And then we got Stephen Briggs. I've seen him headline a few shows at the Gold Room and seen him at where did I see him at? ACC. I think I've seen him at Melissa shows too. Anywho, he showed off his back hair on stage. Uh, so that's kind of he was pretty funny when he was up there. Crowd liked him a lot. So the positive vibes of the happy crowd at 10 o'clock Friday night kept going and going. So this, I can easily say that already this was already one of the best shows at Madhouse of 2023. Steven Briggs, I would say he was an 8.6 out of 10. Strangely, I actually met him for the first time at the Gold Room. Um, he likes to use the mic stand as a prop, as an extension of his junk. I had to grab it. I couldn't help but laugh. Anywho, next was Mike Freeman. Mike Freeman talked about being in China, but didn't really learn the language. Talked about how his girlfriend in China wanted to do role play, and apparently she wanted him to be a Chinese cop. So yeah, Mike was pretty cool. Got some good laughs. I would say he was an 8.4 out of 10. And then first time seeing this other guy after him, Pete McCorvey. Guy likes to yell a lot, but also he's a little bit fast with his set. But I think he was, doing some crowd work. Guy did pretty well. I would say he was an 8.5 out of 10. And then Sean Grant. Finally got to see him. And I'm glad I did because he did mostly crowd work. Probably did a couple of jokes, but got to know the crowd. And that was basically his whole thing, getting to know the crowd, by figuring out which couples are which, asking couples questions. So that's pretty awesome. I would have liked to actually have him stay and talk to me for a little bit, but I was trying to get a picture with him at least, or talk to him for a couple minutes, but he actually had to run and go back to LA right afterwards. So missed my chance, but we have talked online on Instagram, so we're pretty cool. He also does some funny reels online with his wife or girlfriend. So anyway, that was all the comedy I want to talk about. So can't wait to talk about more comedy. Tonight's roast battle at the Comedy Store. I'm also going to go to the mic drop again tomorrow. Everyone who has a purple jacket earned that jacket, and they're going to do a show together. So I can't wait for that tomorrow. Maybe a show on Friday, so we'll see. I guess one more thing. Chargers lost to the Broncos 16-9. So they're 5-11, and I'm pretty sure the Chargers will get a top 6 pick. It looks like the Chargers might be going for a defensive lineman, but I also realized that Georgia's tight end Brock Bowers actually declared for the NFL draft for 2024. So if he's going to be in the draft, I can't help but think that Justin Herbert is going to hook up with Brock Bowers. Chargers draft that top tier tight end, and they could do pretty well next year with a new coach and new GM. Hopefully Jim Harbaugh will actually be hired by the Chargers to be their next head coach. So I'm looking forward to it. Right now, the AFC playoff picture and the NFC playoff picture, a lot of teams have claimed spots, but there's a few slots open. Ravens are number 1. With a record of 13-3. They have home field all throughout. It is after the fact they blew out not only the Dolphins, but they blew out the 49ers. So Ravens are looking pretty good. Probably the front runner to win the Super Bowl 58. Number 2 right now is currently the Miami Dolphins, but because they got blown out by the Ravens and the Bills beat the Patriots, Sunday Night Football is going to feature the Bills, who are number 6, and the number 2 Miami Dolphins And the winner of that game will be the AFC East Division champion. So the number 2 seed would actually be up for grabs in this game, because number 3 is the Chiefs. They already clinched the West. Number 4, Jacksonville Jaguars are in the driver's seat right now. If they beat the Tennessee Titans, they clinched the number 4 seed and the South Division title. That does mean, let's see. So 5, the Cleveland Browns have locked up number 5 seed. Number 6 can be the Buffalo Bills. They are eliminated if they lose to the Dolphins Sunday night. That's probably because the Colts and the Texans are both 9-7, and they're going to face each other, and it's essentially a win and get in. That would probably mean that whoever loses that game might be out, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are right outside the playoff picture, along with the Denver Broncos. But Denver Broncos, I think they're eliminated, so I don't think they're going to make it. But Pittsburgh Steelers might have a chance. Depends on what happens between the Bills and the Colts and Texans. One other thing is that if, for some strange reason, the Jacksonville Jaguars lose to the Tennessee Titans, then it makes the Texans-Colts game for the division title for the South Division. So 2 good games are going to be happening on Sunday, plus the fact that I think the Ravens are playing the Steelers. The fact that the Steelers need to win to get in, or with some help, but the Ravens will be resting their starters, including Lamar Jackson, who is a shoo-in for MVP. Oh, by the way, Sean Grant, 9 out of 10. I must have forgot to say that. Anywho, so that's going to be pretty interesting for the Steelers, the Bills, the Dolphins, the Jaguars, the Texans, and the Colts. We'll see how everything turns out. On the NFC side, NFC, number 1 right now is the 49ers at 12-4. Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles are both tied at 11-5, but I think the Cowboys have the tiebreaker, so they're number 2. If they win, they clinch number 2. If they lose and the Eagles win, Eagles get number 2. The Detroit Lions, I think, let's see, I think the Lions get number 2 only if the Cowboys and Eagles both tie their games, I think. So, because I think all 3 of them are 11-5 right now. Oh, by the way, there was a controversial ending to the Lions-Cowboys game where the Cowboys won by 1 point. 2019, I guess it was. Anywho, the whole thing about 2 offensive linemen. Number 70 was reported to be eligible to receive, but 68 looked like he was the one. So 68, I think, caught the touchdown, but it was nullified because only number 70 was eligible. and 68 was lined up. Number 68 was lined up in a ineligible position, and then went out and caught the touchdown pass. So they were trying to say that 68 went up to the referee to say he was reported eligible. Then number 70 came up, and then he was reported eligible, but not 68. And you can only report one of the two as eligible. So they're saying that the referees might have fixed the game and purposely chose 70 to be eligible, or simply the Lions were trying to trick the Cowboys and the referees. So, see, the thing is, how do the referees know who they're going to pass it to? Because they reported it on the speaker who's eligible, and the person who caught the ball was not eligible or reported as eligible. So, yeah. Anywho, kind of messy. So yeah, Lions number 3. They might get number 2, but it's kind of a long shot. Number 4, I believe, is currently the Buccaneers, but they need to secure that spot by beating the Panthers, the worst team in the league. But if the Panthers somehow beat the Buccaneers, then Falcons and Saints will be for the NFC South title. 8-8 Saints and 7-9 Falcons. It is possible all 3 teams in the South can be 8-9, but I'm thinking Buccaneers will probably clinch the division. They'll probably beat the Panthers. So 5 is probably Eagles if the Cowboys win, no matter what the Eagles do. But if they lose and the Eagles win, then the Cowboys become number 5, Eagles number 2. But otherwise, Cowboys number 2, Eagles number 5. Number 6, I believe, is the LA Rams. They're pretty hot right now. Nobody wants to face them right now. Number 7, I believe it's the Packers holding the spot right now. Seahawks are right outside the playoff picture. They're tied with the Packers and the Saints, but I think by tiebreaker it goes to the Packers. I think they just blew out the Vikings. Vikings have a shot, but it's a long shot. A lot of teams have to lose. So the Packers are in the driver's seat. If they beat the Bears, they secure that last number 7 spot. If not, it can go to the Saints or the Seahawks. So, kind of messy, but we'll see how everything turns out. All in all, I do think it's going to be 49ers versus Ravens in the Super Bowl 58. And I'm probably picking the Ravens to win again. So, we'll see. Alright, guys. I'm going to get ready to go to the comedy show tonight. Should be fun. Tonight's matchups are Mimi Harris versus Delina Horchata, Alex Pellegrina versus Grant Bozeman going up against Lorenzo Amato, Hunter Jaffe versus Melvin Hayes, hosted by Gordon Downz. And you'll probably see guys like Mike Finn, Brian Moses helping with judging, and I guess there's a guest judge. So, should be a fun night tonight. And I think my sisters and my mom are growing tonight. Alright. You know this thing goes, guys. Boom! Tiggy Maximus signing off. Bye-bye. Alright, there guys.